Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is Wednesday. No, sorry, it's Tuesday. It is Tuesday, March 15th, 10:26 a.m. here in the Arizona desert where we have the freedom time zone. We don't mess around. We don't change our time during the year, which is kind of cool. And on a good note, right now, we're the same time zone as Pacific Standard Time, California, which just makes life a lot easier because everybody knows what that is, but no one really knows what Arizona is doing most of the time. So anyway, BitcoinDailyView.com got more for you there. All right, let's look at a little bit of news. Look at market status. Let's look at Bitcoin. We'll get out of here real quick. This is a good morning. I like what I'm seeing. The market this is a good setup. We still have Tuesday, Wednesday. Definitely can be strong days during the week before we start winding down on a Thursday, Friday, etc. Because lately the crypto market has been waning on the weekends. So that may depend this week on how the market actually does today, tomorrow, Thursday. Let's see. We are in unprecedented times. We are making history. We're not reliving it. Or no, wait, we are. Sorry, we're reliving history. UN head, bone-chilling nuclear war, a possibility. This is neat. This guy says, UN Secretary General, whatever his name is, raising the alert of Russian nuclear forces is bone-chilling development. The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility. I don't really think so. I honestly think these guys are all bullshit artists. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think so. Nonsense. Anyway, what has value is that the globalists would like us to think it's a possibility. This is great. I like this. By Twain's Mustache here on Twitter. Somebody really worth a follow. I thought I was following him actually. Copy link. I'll put this over in the Bitcoin Daily View Telegram chat. I'm not going to stick things in live chat anymore for the videos because you're going to have to join the Bitcoin Daily View Telegram chat if you want the cool links. Okay, here we go. The greatest trick the devil played was convincing environmentalists that electric vehicles were good for the environment. So to manufacture each EV battery, you must process 25,000 pounds of brine for lithium, 30,000 pounds of ore for the cobalt, 5,000 pounds of ore for the nickel, 25,000 pounds of ore for copper, digging up 500, well, half a million pounds of the Earth's crust. So for just one battery. Now, the thing about this is I'm not so much knocking Tesla owners or EV owners. It's really not that. I'm kind of wanting to point this out because, well, there is a great hypocrisy of it. If you live in a more affluent area, people drive their Teslas around and they're always like, oh, well, if you're upset about gas prices, then you should just buy a Tesla. And it's like, well, yeah, a person who can't afford gas is going to have an extra 80 grand laying around to buy a Tesla. Anyway, and with that said, also, with the supply chain issues that we're having, we don't know how long they're going to last, but some are ultimately grand solar minimum based, which is going to be with us for a while. What happens when the EVs are basically too expensive to produce because of the rare earth stuff which is needed for the batteries? Anyway, Elon's cool, F Teslas. With that said, this is also an amazing one here. This is about mass psychosis. There's something called BSV. It's a bullshit vision, basically. And this is interesting, and it shows about, what is crypto? What is the value? And so something always has a value. What is it based on? There are gold-backed stable coins. There's, Bitcoin, which is ultimately based on energy. And scarcity, you could say. Well, anyway, BSV, what is it really based on? This has been this coin. It's a spin-off of it's a fork of Bitcoin, and it talks about incompetent leadership, bad week. This article makes a case for maybe it's going to go away. Maybe it just because shit coins do fail. Sometimes they just don't make it. And even though this one has kind of been big, you might say, this would be interesting if this failed, because I think it would be one of the first bigger coins to actually fail. And that would be, well, interesting. It would be interesting to see, because little shit coins come and go every day. But larger ones, when they fail, that's interesting. And this gets to me into what this is about. Like, what is the psychology of a BSV or Satoshi, bullshit Satoshi vision, basically, because it was not. And it kind of gets in here. Where is it at? I wanted to read this real quick. because investors conclusion, unless if I can find that line that I had before. Yes, it goes basically right here. To show the BSV on Twitter and various other platforms, and people are paid, they only have one talking point, which is Craig is Satoshi. He is not. BSV is the real Bitcoin. It is not. And so, in a sense, what is the actual store of value that somebody, is that this dude, Craig Wright allegedly is an asshole. So when you look at that, a narcissist who's trying to pull some bullshit, and I also really, really do question if this guy isn't truly, if you want to get out there with me, let me get my tinfoil hat on under this. I've oftentimes thought this whole play was a half-assed deep state play to try to create ownership of Bitcoin to an individual. And I think he's kind of was a willing stooge for this, allegedly, just saying, I wonder if truly this whole, Craig Wright thing has always been a failed psyop to take Bitcoin out. Basically, even though there's been a lot of effort put towards it, they just cannot prove he played the role that he did and that he basically owns it. So, or that he has a great stake in it. So anyway, this guy, loser of all losers, in my opinion, allegedly. And you can see Bitcoin, you can see BSV versus USDT has had some burstiness, the last year or so here. It's not a lot of exchanges. I couldn't find it on Binance. I may have just missed it. But anyway, it's dumping. This is an interesting coin. Sorry, I belabored this so much. It's just, you got to think about it. What if this big coin, actually went away? And then it also gets into what was it actually based on? People talk shit all the time about like Shiba Inu, Doge, this and that, what they are based on. Like, well, what's their store of value? Well, this one's Bitcoin, bullshit vision here has always been based on a lie and like a friggin' narcissist just doing their shit. So anyway, that was based on nothing, and look where it got. In fact, it was based on a person's terrible character and probably a psyop. So with that said, so whenever you want to talk about, well, what's that based on? Dude, things are based on a lot of things. You choose what you want to play with as far as crypto and what that's based on. I actually like to, bet on Bitcoin because I believe it's based on an optimistic sci-fi future of humanity, a huge, massive global peaceful revolution, the first one ever that is beyond nation states. Okay. It's the frigging first Earth revolution, petrodollar cracks. Saudi Arabia considers accepting yuan for Chinese oil sales. So petrodollar cracks. Saudi Arabia considers accepting yuan for Chinese oil sales. Also, you got a lot of stuff like this happening with what's it called? This is happening with India, etc. You're going to see more and more of this. The BRIC nations are going to become really the next kind of like Warsaw Pact in a way. I mean, all of this crap that's happening is because of NATO, is because of this ancient neocon nonsense about surrounding friggin' Russia with NATO nations. All of this, it's like when I was, NATO is going to be the downfall of the West, I'm telling you. And if people think this doesn't matter, they're like, well, those countries, blah, blah, blah. Wake up, stop being stupid. Petrodollar cracks. Saudi Arabia considers accepting yuan for Chinese oil sales. You've already got Russia moving towards a gold-backed stablecoin. You ever get a feeling there's been a large plan in the works for quite a while, and that everything that America's doing right now, as far as NATO and the Ukraine, is just one step further into a trap that has been set, and we're going to fail? Just food for thought, okay? Rexcast, number 22, Ukraine crisis with Gonzalo Lira in Kharkov. If you want to get some, it's 2 hours and 29 minutes. It's long. Maybe I'll try to later on just pull some highlights out of it. But if you'd like to get to see how the world sees, get out of the American bias and see how the world sees this situation. This is a lot of perspectives that coming from the American perspective, the Western perspective, who's worshiping this, false god, this idol of NATO, which shouldn't even existed. It should have gone away when the Warsaw Pact fell apart, when Russia did. This really helps a person broaden their perspective and see America from an outside perspective. I'm not bashing America. I'm American, right? I'm sitting here in Arizona, but This is powerful stuff, and it can broaden one's perspective of the situation, because without seeing it as a lot of the world sees it, as other countries see it, without taking, history did not just start when America invaded Ukraine. So this is actually really, really important. This will help to broaden perspectives. It'll help see it from angles that many maybe had not quite thought of. Some are bullshit, some are true. Use your own discernment, but this has a lot of value. I will take this right now. I think I already have, but I will stick it in the Bitcoin Daily View trading chat. There it is. All right. So with that said, let's rock. Okay. Enough news. Sorry, that took way too long. So if we refresh this, 39,137 is the Bitcoin price this very moment. In general, the market is a mix of green and red, with green starting to become predominant. You've got Elrond, a cool project, EGLD, up like 9% right now. You've got, what else do you got? You got, how's Thorchain doing? Where you at, Thorchain? I know it's here. I don't want to search for it and waste time. Where you at, Thorchain? There it is, Thorchain, up 3%, doing quite well. Its ticker is RUE, and BAT, basic authentication, basic attention token, doing quite well. Up 9%. Zydo Finance, whatever that is, Zydo, up 14%. So we definitely have a mix of green and red, and we have more green than red, I think, right now. Market is recovering. We had recent volatility, of course, which tends to drive things crazy, but overall, things are looking up. As you can see, we had a pump early this morning. This is and that's nice. We had a pump, and then of course we had a dump. It did take out some longs and shorts each way. We had a serious dump after that. Took out some longs, and we've had a nice, beautiful upwards channel here for quite a while. It's looking good. Look at these big buys coming in, 1.4 million, 2.6 million. I think we are on a nice footing right now. So had some volatility this morning. Longs and shorts got wrecked, and well, there you go. I think oftentimes the exchanges need to clear those out. I'm not exactly sure what FUD would have caused this pump. I'm sorry, what news would have caused this pump, and I don't know what would have caused the dump. But anyway, perfect Bart Simpson pattern there. If you ask me, most likely longs and shorts getting wrecked to create liquidity. Here you have an inverted upside down Bart Simpson pattern. Most likely whales creating liquidity. When you see whales creating liquidity to get those big ass OTC buys in, you know that it's maybe accumulation phase. So I take these patterns here. We have a Bart Simpson pattern followed by an inverted Bart Simpson pattern as whales making liquidity for themselves. That's just me, my take on it, my opinion. There you go. So here we go. Bitcoin trading volume explicitly last 24 hours, 3.2 billion. That is not bad at all. Good enough with all the volatility going on. People are consistently buying, and then definitely from looking at the market, especially you can look here. This just gives you some insight. But having looked at some of the other exchanges, et cetera, like the order books, I do think that we are seeing, of course, the OTC whale accumulation. That's definitely happening. So definitely, this is retail trading, which isn't the whales are not really reflected here with their OTC buys. This is really retail trading. Retail traders are in the game right now, so that's nice to see. We have some action happening. All right, looking at cryptometer.io, it says 3.2 billion in volume, dropped by 2.77% last 24 hours. Market buy orders down 1.8% last 24 hours. Market sell orders up 1.6%. Well, that would make sense with the volatility that we have had. So this is a Tuesday. The week is starting. So far, after a volatile weekend, even a volatile last night and this morning, we've been holding on to consistent, good enough trading volume. I like seeing that. Longs versus shorts on Binance. We've got 69% long, 30% short for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, 70% long, 29% short. We definitely have a phenomenal long bias on Binance for Bitcoin and Ethereum. The one thing we're missing, though, is where did it go? Let me go to bitcoindailyview.com. We're missing something. Where we don't have. Yeah, there we go. I want these. The spot exchanges. Spot trading on Binance, 13 billion. On Coinbase, 2.1 billion, 2.2 basically. Crypto.com, 2.2 billion if we round it up. Volume, I'm going to give it an okay on spot. What's important though is if we see all these nice green increases in trading volume. So trading volume has been up last 24 hours. I like seeing that for derivatives. Let's just look at Binance, 44 billion. That's really low. You want to see at least 50 billion. 60 billion is better. 70 billion is really good. So definitely volume's not too hot, but it's not bad. So this is kind of good. Traders are hanging in there and not giving up with the volatility. All right, looking at S&P 500 on the 1 day, we're starting today with a green candle. That's good to go. Looking at the Russell 2000 here in the middle, a green candle. Looking at the US dollar strength index, the DXY, an indecisive red doji. That might be the second one in a row. Let's see how that goes. It's usually when not. It's funny. When, yeah, who cares? Well, I'll just call it like I see it. That's what it is. Second red doji in a row for DXY. So no big swings happening there. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here we go. Gold on top. It's a red candle today on the daily. I wonder about this. We wicked below, but the body is hanging out there on the .5. That would be a logical bounce spot. Let's see if gold on the daily here bounces off that .5. It pumped a lot. It's giving a lot back. This is a possible bounce point. I think we might see that. Looking at silver, you can see it ran up. It's giving a lot back. It's trying to find support there on that 314 moving average. Both gold and silver have lost the 20 WMA. Let's real quickly here, just for fun and profit. Let's do a Fibonacci sequence here on silver, and it's kind of trying to get that 382 bounce. It actually worked down to that 5. That would be possible. So maybe gold and silver are seeing some traction. We'll see what happens. Crude oil today, big news of the day is crude oil. U.S. oil is the ticker, is below $100 again. So $96.91. That's not bad at all. It's wicking down to the 50 moving average. Let's see if it bounces there. Of course, that 5 fib line here. Also, you have a wick below it, but the body's above it. We really are at a possible bounce spot, or maybe even a sideways spot. So it's nice to see U.S. crude going down. $97 a barrel right now. I would wait a day or two if you need to buy gas, because if this continues, you won't see this reflected at the pumps quite right away. But this is definitely good. Although it does make me wonder, how is that possible? I guess ultimately the huge pump in oil prices was maybe speculation, fear, more so than the actual difficulty of getting it. Yet we seem to not be pumping it here, not be piping it in, not be importing it. It seems that the administration finds oil distasteful. So I'm not sure what's going on. This is just interesting. Sometimes you got to just look at the market and just look at it and see it and just go with it. It will tell you something, even if it's only just what is. Maybe you don't know why. Interesting numbers. We'll look at them every day. All right. Looking at Bitcoin versus USDT. Here is a 45-minute chart. Okay. As you can see, we are in that mid-range there of this range. This morning, I don't know why, we definitely pumped up way above we had a serious pump. Got a blue diamond merit badge, but did not hold on to it. Didn't hold above this 200 moving average on the 45-minute chart, nor the 314. Would have been nice if we could have come down and ranged here a little bit, built momentum and pumped. But it does look like we're getting close to a move up. These indicators in general are, a little bit rough because of the volatility that Bitcoin has had recently. But if we look at this, let me pull this in, 45-minute chart. I know this is a little almost hard to see, but I do see this range that the whales like to play in right here. Now, you could say this whole thing is a range, right? You could say I could draw this much bigger. You could almost change it. You could almost do that. And I'm sure some are. It all depends on what time frames they're moving. Up here, this gray area is the 618 golden pocket on the daily. Reflect it. You can see we've tried to stay there a couple times. Anyway, let's just see what happens. We have a lot of volatility. We're ranging in here. I mean, to me, I'm kind of watching my trades with alts. I'm sort of watching this because it does seem that, we kind of go up, ride it down. You can kind of see it's a channel. And when you get to see when you get to reflect and understand the mood of Bitcoin when it's in this channel, it's really, really helpful in trading alts, because most likely, so now we're challenging this 200 moving average, right? And so if we look at that, on the 45-minute chart, challenging kind of the top sell zone here on the sideways channel. We're challenging the 200 moving average. We actually got above it recently. It's all about, are we going to challenge this thing and stay or not? So really, this is an interesting time. We're either going to break above this thing and start moving, have some bullish action, and get out of this sort of very, very tight trading channel, or we're going to get rejected and fail hard. So right now, if you are trading alts, just be aware that if we get rejected, if we do get rejected off that 45-minute 200 moving average, we're going down here before we come back up. So just be wary. As you can see, it's happened before. You try to break it, get rejected, bam. So just be aware. Like, here we tried to break it, got rejected. Now we're going to try to break it, broke it, got rejected. Got down here in this sweet buy zone for the whales and people. And smart people try to break it, couldn't do it. Are we going to, Are we going to break it or what? It's hard to tell. So be wary. Just be watchful. If you're in alt trades, for heaven's sakes, definitely try to get a trailing take profit in, get a limit order in profit, because if we do get rejected, we're going down. That will drag the alt market with it. So it's an interesting time. What can you do? Looking at the daily chart, once again, you can kind of see this little tight range. They like to keep it, even though it does burst away from that at times. I think in general, this is the range that they are playing on the daily chart. As you can see, this just starts way back on like the 20th of July for Bitcoin. The 618 golden pocket has played a big role. Right now, we are riding that 786. We're staying above it. That's actually very, very powerful. That is a legit place to bounce. When we were over here getting below it, I was kind of worried. Like, I was like, oh man, this could be the end, but we're riding it. We're keeping on there. Really, the 786 is a totally legit place to bounce. And right now, if Bitcoin is kind of consolidating there, you've got, whales playing, like you can see back here, whales creating with these Bart Simpson patterns, regular and inverted, creating liquidity so that they can scoop it up. You can see retail volume in general hanging in there, even with the whales playing their games. This is a very, very bullish moment for me personally. I think bouncing off the 786 fib line is very, very possible. It's hanging out in the 618. I'm sorry, bounce off the 786 and hanging out in the 618, and then boom, moving up hard, really. And the on the daily, the 200 moving average is hanging out right below 49,000. It's right about 49,000 is the 200 moving average. We can get above that, we're back in Lambo land. So let's see how it all rolls. Do note this, okay? The daily MACD tangent has turned positive. Let's watch that. The histogram's closing in the right direction. Watch this. As a matter of fact, put in, you want to put in an alert right now. MACD, the MACD crossing, the MACD signal on the daily. So I will just say here, daily MACD Lambo. Okay. So be watching that. And then also know that right now, while this tangent is moving towards the positive, that will create more longs than shorts and greater confidence in the market, definitely alt market as well as Bitcoin market. So there's my crazy rant on all that. If I make this a 4-hour chart, it just shows you a little bit more of the crazy, just shows you a little bit more detail within the craziness of all this. But definitely do note, when we get back to that 618 golden pocket, once we can find some traction there and break above, it has been, as you can see here, definitely it showed which direction we were going in. Just like when we broke below it here, it showed which direction we were going in. So there you go, guys. Now, some alts. Boom, Rune versus BTC. I'm actually getting ready to hop back in this right now. I actually bought here. I'm gonna start turning up. Trailing take profit fired off last night, made some money. So Rune in general is going up. I like what I'm seeing here. If we look, the directional index is in the green. ADX is falling. Squeeze indicator is showing some downwards momentum. I'm going to wait till we get a green candle once again, and it starts moving up. But do note this: the KRI has the tangent is up, moving up. Stochastic RSI definitely oversold. It's starting to have a nice powerful tangent on the way up, and the weight on oscillator by Lazy Bear almost agrees, but not quite. I wish they both agreed, but anyway, this is a long kind of, if you'd bought back here, You could just be sitting there looking at, like picking out Lambos right now if you want it. But here we go. There's, as I oftentimes mention, there's your blue diamond merit badge, a 200 moving average cross on the 45-minute chart, 200 moving average cross, and 314 moving average cross within 2 candles. Boom. Note that it's a big deal. Okay, so this thing's doing well. If you screw up on this trade and it goes south on you, in general, it's still trending up very, very powerfully. I kind of have confidence in it doing pretty well. I've made some money. What I've been doing, honestly, of course, people always say not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. But basically what I've been doing is, you can kind of see this channel here. Let me actually darken that up a little bit so you can see it. There it is. Now, what I will do is, now that our indicator is looking like we're going to turn back up, I imagine we'll probably visit the top of this guy again. So I'm kind of going to show you a little bit of my little trading methodology right now, how I've been playing this one. Do what you will. This is just something that I'm doing. I know this chart, this channel is not perfect. I'm kind of making a little bit of creativity here with this channel, but most likely we'll continue up. And if we just continue up, where are we going to hit? Boom, right there. So let's see what percentage is that. Let me take this. Let me grab my little forecast tool here. Forecast. Bam. Most likely, that's around 7.54%. So what I will do actually is I'm going to I'll do a buy right now, and I would do it right in front of you, but I don't want to show you my my 3 commas. I use 3 commas for all my trades. I'm going to do a buy, and I'm going to set a trailing take profit at 5%, and that will be, and it will sell when it goes negative 3%. That's what I'm going to do basically. So, and I'll put my stop basically right below the heartbeat of the channel right here, which is right around 1930. So basically, it's either going to do what I want. It's either going to continue moving up. I'm going to wait until we see a green candle here on the squeeze indicator. But, so I like to stay in the green. The tangent for the KRI is in the right spot. I'm just going to wait. Not quite ready. The stochastic RSI shows it's ready, though. If you want to be daring, it's a good time. If not, wait for the squeeze indicator to do something for you. But anyway, I don't want to belabor it. Just this is a good trade. It's got a long way to go to the top of that RSI cave. It's moving up. I like trades like this because in general, there's a lot of power in this upswing. You could have just bought and held, and if I had, maybe I would just be, just letting it go. If I had bought way back here, like at one of these spots here, and I'd stayed in, what would I be doing? I'd be waiting for the Madrid ribbons here to all turn red and start to approach the look like we're going to have a 200 moving average cross to the negative before I hopped out. And anyway, so with that said, started going on something about that one. Rune versus BTC. Great way to pick up some BTC sats. BAT, basic authentication token versus BTC. It was riding this beautiful channel up, and it still is, but it has severely and intensely broken out of that upwards channel that it was going in. It's looking great. It's too far right now from the 8 moving average. It's if I look at it here, you can probably see it. It's this moving average right here, right there, the red one. That's the 8 moving average. You're never going to stay very far from that very long. Also, it's pushing the top of the RSI caves. This guy's probably going to bounce off. Most likely, it's going to do something like this. Boom. So I'm going to wait for BAT to do that. When BAT kind of does this, I very well might get back in if these indicators stay so strong. So BAT versus BTC, great way to pick up some BTC sats. CTXC versus BTC. This thing ended up being a loser, so sorry about that. FET versus BTC, loser. Okay, that one didn't work. One that I'm watching right now is TRU versus BTC. This is an interesting one. I kind of like it because you can play it a lot of places. It's on Binance, Coinbase, and KuCoin, so you got to have one of those. It did this thing that alts are doing, where it definitely exploded. I'm gonna go back here. Let's just go right here. It exploded. Let's see where it retraces to. It's probably going to give it all back, but there's a good chance maybe it won't. I like watching these because sometimes it really happens. These are good to watch. I like catching these because, overall, very well, what it might do is what it's done, here and here. It's going to burst and give it all back. But you know what? These are worth watching, because if we watch this guy, if we go to like a, let's say a daily chart and open this thing up, look at the big picture. Yeah, let's pull in some more stuff. Okay. Yeah, I like it because, as you can see, these are trades that I like, because this guy's been giving it back, giving it back, giving it back, giving it back. It made one huge effort here to turn it around, didn't quite make it. So just be watchful. I may give up on this one later on today or tomorrow, but I'm watching, because these trades that have been, any coin that's been giving it back and giving it back and giving it back, this is when you can see these massive reversals. So the longer it's been giving it back, the more it's gotten to like zero. That basically is energy where either it's over for it, like it is for Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, or maybe it's going to explode. Well, anyhow, guys, let's take a look at this. Is there anything else? Really, there is not. It's a beautiful day. I like what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really, in my opinion, this is a great place. I mean, with all the global crazy uncertainty that's going on right now, Bitcoin really is doing pretty darn well. Yeah, it's this kind of a retrace that we're seeing right here, which is disheartening in some ways. If you're kind of riding it, you don't like it if you bought up here. But regardless, this is natural. This happens. We're starting to build some momentum here. We're holding that 786 fib line. I think we're going to see some seriously positive momentum before long. With that said, I'm going to fire up one more. Oh yeah, this is from Akada, Akaider. I'm gonna actually take this right now, and I'm going to. If you want someone fun to follow on Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, this guy puts out great stuff. Friend of the show, friend of mine, been on Radiant Creators a few times. He has Alex Jones here. When no one at the party wants to talk about interdimensional lizards, I'm about to head out. Do you ever feel that way? I do. I've been there. Okay, so with that said, let's look at SHIB real quick before we go. SHIB versus USDT. You can play it anywhere. Quality cryptos are sold. All right, now let's take a look at this SHIB. Then we'll be out of here. We'll get out of here. Something I like seeing with SHIB right now is, I mean, as we all know, it had a phenomenal run up. I mean, definitely Lambos were purchased. There's no doubt about that. So that is the daily chart. So as you can see, big picture, it had it started back in like October, beginning of October, massive run up, and now of course it's doing really, honest to God, what is natural in crypto. It's giving it all back. On the daily chart, it's below the 200 moving average. It's pretty much not looking too powerful from that perspective. But let's drag this thing into a 45-minute chart and see what's going on. Let's go to 4-hour chart. Pull it in. Yeah, look at that. I mean, we can pull in lots and lots of data, but in general, even a 4-hour chart, we can kind of see where, yep, this thing's been giving it back, going down. But it has made some attempts to break out above that 200 moving average on the 45-minute, on the 4-hour chart. Definitely, it's getting some fight to it. Now, let's get rid of all that hoo-ha. Let's go back to the 45-minute chart. And what I'm kind of watching is, it did make a play back here, like on 20th of February. It tried to get back above that 200 moving average. It's tried it back around like the 9th of March. I'm watching this thing. I really think all Shiba Inu needs is like a healthy market. And this thing is definitely, I mean, the gains it's made in the past and how much it's given back. I really am watching for this turn up, the break above that 200 moving average on the 45-minute chart and hold that and start to make some positive momentum. And if it can do it on the 4-hour chart, I would just, this chart's kind of shit right now. But just one to note, I haven't looked at Doge forever. Doge versus USDT. Binance. Doge. Yeah, it just doesn't have any fight in it. And what else? Actually, you know what? Sol versus USDT. Solana. Solana. This is interesting. 45-minute chart. You can definitely see some breakout attempts recently. Right now, it's pushing for a breakout. It would like to get out of this downwards trend that it's been in. It broke the 200 moving average. It's working on breaking the 314 moving average. It's got a green diamond, means all Madrid ribbons are green. If it can actually break through on this candle, it might very well get a blue diamond merit badge. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. Look at this one here. You know, if it can get a strong 45-minute chart, watch this 4-hour chart, because you know, this one here, definitely, if we can just get a positive market, as you can see on the daily, this thing had a beautiful run up and it's been giving it back. And if we were to, you know what, let's be slightly creative, pull in a lot of data. Let's look at it like this here with the Fibonacci sequence. We're right there at that 786 level, which is definitely a place where you might bounce. We've kind of been bouncing along that for a while now. So if we give that a look, we definitely are at a logical, you know, going way out here, even though we're way below the 200 moving average. We pumped, we gave it back. That's what happens. 786 is a very, very valid spot for a bounce. As you can see, I won't look at it again, but daily, that's kind of where the Solana definitely in the NFT serious run for its money. If we have a powerful market in 2022, which I do believe we will, Solana definitely going to be a player in it. All right. You're either a Bitcoin truth seeker or you trust the science. So with that said, for every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, you make the world a better place. It is a belief in an optimistic future for humanity. It is the first global peaceful revolution that goes beyond borders. It is the Earth's people's, natural humans, peaceful revolution. So every stat you own is truly the greatest, I think, revolutionary act you can ever do, which is completely peaceful. And that's a beautiful thing. So thanks for being here. Thanks for having faith in something beautiful. And I will see you all darn shortly.